Hey, I'm Nick, and in this video, we're going to talk all about how your church can get up to $10,000 a month in free Google ads. We talk with Jason Hamrock, the CEO of Missional Marketing. They're a great organization that helps churches leverage online better, and you can get a free report from them about your church and your Google results and what that looks like locally. Just visit missionalmarketing.com/Nick Blevins. And in this video, we'll talk about how to get the $10,000 a month in free Google ads, how to make the most of them. Jason talks about the two different types of searches that people make and how churches can leverage and show up in both of those searches. And all of this is bonus content that's part of a course called The New Digital Church. If you're interested in learning more about how your church can leverage online to reach and disciple more people, check out newdigitalchurch.com. You'll also want to subscribe to this channel if you want to see other videos in this series, including the other one we did with Jason Hamrock, all about how your church can show up in the top 3 results locally when somebody searches for churches near me. And there are other videos as well. So hit subscribe if you want to catch all of those. And if this video is helpful to you, go ahead and hit that like button. Hey, Nick Blevins here, and I'm here with Jason Hamrock. How you doing, Jason?
I'm great, thanks. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing well. So Jason, you're from Missional Marketing. You help churches leverage their web presence. And we already talked in another video about Google Local SEO and Google My Business and like how people find our churches through maps and on Google and all that. And in this video, we're going to talk about Google ad grants and how all that works, right?
Yeah, you bet. That's exactly what we're going to talk about. Yeah, the Google AdWords program, a lot of people don't know about this. But I'd like to spend some time explaining it to you. So if you've ever heard of this thing, you may have questions, you may not be sure what it is. What the Google Ad Grant program is Google offers 501c3 nonprofit organizations an opportunity to apply for this Google Ad Grant. And if you are a nonprofit, you're going to get it. You know, they don't pick and choose. It's just if you've got if you truly are a 501c3 according to the IRS, you got it. What it is your opportunity to advertise in Google search, right? So Google search, and then you get $10,000 a month in free advertising, which kind of blows people. We're like, what? How is that even possible?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Most churches don't spend $10,000 in a year plus, right, on marketing, period.
Right. And so you could boost your advertising budget by $120,000 starting right now for 1 year. And it goes on year after year after year. Once you apply, you got it. You don't have to reapply. It's yours. Now you have to work it, which we'll talk about today. But once you have it, you're in. And so it's pretty exciting stuff.
So I'll talk real briefly, because we'll talk about how to use it, make the most of it. That's what you're great at. I told you our church has it. You're going to help us use it better because we're like minimally using it. About the application process, getting it started. What is that like?
Yeah, so you have to obviously have your tax ID number. And Google's actually simplified this process. You first have to become a member of what's called TechSoup. So like technology soup. So TechSoup.com. TechSoup, I kind of call it like Costco for nonprofits, right? It's a free account, but they offer lots of discounts on software and hardware. And so actually go check it out because it could be a really good source for you as you buy stuff. But when you're a member of TechSoup, that kind of verifies to Google that you are indeed a nonprofit, like you've crossed that hurdle. From there, then you applied for the Google for Nonprofits, right? And once you have that status, the third step is then applying for the ad grant program. Inside Google, those are different departments, right? They all have their different departments. Well, the ad grant program is its own division, its own department, and you have to, apply for the nonprofit status, and then you get your grant.
And then after that, I mean, $10,000 of free ad spend, like what would a church use that for? What does that look like? People, obviously, we talked about in the other video, will search things like churches near me on Google, which, could lead to your church. But there's a lot more to that. And then we could talk about maybe the function of it, like how you actually do it, some of the Google ad quirks and tweaks and things you got to do to manage it. But like, how would we use this as a church?
Yep. So if you've ever gone to Google, which everybody has, and you search for something. So let's just hypothetically say you're looking for a new car, right? And you type in new cars or car dealers. What you're going to get is a search result page. Maybe it's on your iPhone that you do this, or your phone, or your desktop, or your whatever. You would get ads, right? At the top of the page, you would see ads for, car dealers. Those are paid ads. Those car dealers are spending good money to be in that space, at that position. That's actually a free impression. If somebody clicks on that ad, then Google charges that ad, that car dealer, a few dollars or whatever the bid is to be in that space based on the competition. They're going to charge them, right? And then the user goes to their website and everybody's happy. So the car dealer paid Google a little bit of money to deliver that ad, and that's how it works. That's a paid ad campaign in Google Search AdWords. The grant is exactly the same thing. However, if somebody clicks on your ad, you don't get charged, right? So in the case you just mentioned, a lot of people search things like churches near me, or best churches in my city, or Christian churches around me. We talked last time about local SEO, where you want to be in that Google local pack, but you also want to run an ad. Why wouldn't you? If Google's paying for it, why wouldn't you want to run an ad and be in that spot as well? And so you kind of have lots of areas covered when you're doing that in Google. And so we always talk about making sure you're going after two different types of searches, right? One would be people looking for a church around your area, low-hanging fruit, right? They're looking for a church. You want to be in their space, either through the Google local pack or an ad. But the other kind of traffic, and this is where it gets really fun and exciting for us, because we can connect a lot of people to your church, is people searching for help with a felt need, right? There's a lot of felt need searches out there, and people go to Google. They go to Google to get answers. So my marriage is, on the rocks or hanging by a thread, or we're trying to recover from a divorce, or I want to look to be a better parent, or I'm dealing with an addiction, or grief, or fear, or, I'm contemplating suicide. I need help. Or maybe you're searching for, is Jesus real? Does he forgive? Does God exist? Those are all felt, and I could mention a whole bunch more, but those are all felt need searches that happen all the time in Google, all the time. And when that happens, your church, you want to be at the very top of the list there, so they see you and click and get to your church website to gain that help and to connect with people. That is really exciting for us, because we go deep with churches in this space to help them understand there's a lot of people around you that are suffering and hurting, and you've got ministry built. You probably preach on it all the time, these felt needs, and you can connect with people, and that's how you do it.
Now, walk us through how that actually works. So they search, we're using Google Ad Grants, we got that up and running. And what are some of the things we need to know about how to make all those pieces work together?
Yeah, good question. So a couple of statistics. Number one, the reason we always talk about Google owns 92% of the market share. 92%. So out of 10 people who use a search engine to search something on the internet, 9 of those people are using Google. Only 1 person is using Bing or Yahoo or DuckDuckGo. Right? So that's why we always talk about Google, 92%. In 2012, they own 65%. So, I mean, they are taking it by storm, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is this. When somebody is looking for either a location type of thing, or they're searching, about 70% of the time, they're going to click on an ad, or they're going to click on like the Google local pack, right? So only about 30% of the time do people search down it, go down into the organic search results. And that varies depending on the search term that somebody's what they're looking for. So it's really, really important to be running that ad up in that space. But so Google cares about 2 things, right? Number one, making money. They're very good at that. In AdWords, I think they made something like $90 billion in 2018. I mean, it's just crazy. Mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. $90 billion. And so Google cares about 2 things, making money and their users. You've never gone to Google and searched for something and thought, what in the world is this? This is not what I'm looking for, right? You're not going to search for car dealers and then find a recipe on making hot dogs. Like it would never happen.
Yeah.
Google always makes a match, and they care deeply about their user, and they care deeply about the user experience. That's why that's why they own the market share. So why I say that is this: it's really, really important that the content you create on your website is to what Google prefers. Churches, I look at a lot of church websites, and I kind of, I talk to churches about the lack of content that's on their website. Yet they're producing all kinds of content. I mean, their pastor preaches every Sunday. That's great content. They're just not using it the way they should be using it. So if I was looking for, let's talk about marriage. I was looking for like how to fix my marriage or strengthen my marriage. And I saw an ad that you put out there on using the Google Ad Grant, and it drove that user to your website. It would matter. Google wants to know, well, where are you going to send them on your website? Is it your homepage? Okay. Google's going to crawl that homepage and say, are you guys an authority on the subject matter of marriage? If so, if there's evidence of that, absolutely, we want to deliver that ad because it's a really good click for the user. So they better see a lot of information about marriage on your homepage. Well, guess what? You don't have any information about marriage on your homepage. So you would need to send them to a page on your website, maybe /marriage, where you talk about that on your website, on a page on your website. When Google crawls that and they see, the URL has the keyword in there, the title of the page has the keyword in there, the meta description talks about that keyword of marriage is throughout all the content, and there's about 750 to 1,000 or so words on that page, just informing Google that you are an authority in that subject matter, then the likelihood of you showing up in an ad goes way high because Google sees it as a very relevant landing page for the user.
And that's a good point, because I think it'd be tempting to run, and this is part of why we're going to work with you to help our Google ads, because we're doing, again, the low level. We're sending people mainly to our homepage for kind of generic searches.
Yep.
And there's so much more opportunity when you can do things like this. But we have to write the content around it. We can't just say, do a search about marriage and then just send you to our message archive. And somewhere in there's probably a message somewhere about marriage.
Maybe.
That wouldn't work, right?
No, because Google cannot crawl a video. They can't crawl a PDF. They are looking for keywords. They're looking for metadata to inform Google, are you an authority in that subject matter? So yes, we work with a lot of churches to help them with that content. We've actually created a lot of content that churches can use. But it has to be the voice of the church as well. And again, these are people around your area. They're not too far from you, and they're looking for help. And no doubt, if a church would just spend the time creating this content, you could create that traffic every single week. I mean, that's the beauty of this ad grant program.
Yeah, and you help churches with this. You have a dashboard sometimes where you can go see like how that's going. In Google itself, the ads manager, you can go look and see how things are going there. I've looked at ours, and I remember early on when I set it up, it was surprising. I mean, it was good. It was like lots of clicks. It was really cool. And then after a few months, 6 months maybe, it kind of declined. And I think that's because I wasn't doing what you were talking about. So Google learned, we're not really serving up great relevant content with these ads. So we're going to trim back the traffic you're getting to the ones that are a match. And that's why we need to beef it up, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Couple thoughts on that. I'll show you a dashboard that we like to walk churches through, but just a couple thoughts on that. Number one is, the reason why Google does this, it's charitable. Yep, it's charitable. It's a way to give back to nonprofits. I mean, we're talking a $100+ billion company, so throwing a few $100s this way or that way is not a big deal to Google. But truthfully, they really want you advertising in search. When you advertise in search, you create more competition in that space. And that actually drives up cost per clicks for other people that are spending money in Google. So you actually help Google make more money when you advertise in the space by giving you free money. So they're brilliant in what they're doing, and it's great. I mean, it's for us, it's like awesome. We can help the church grow and thrive and reach more people all on Google's dime. That's a win-win in my book. I mean, I love what they're doing there. But I'll tell you, let me show you a dashboard. I'll share my screen here. Make sure you guys can see this. I hope you can see this. So whenever we work with churches, we always provide a dashboard because data is so important in this space, right? If you don't know what's going on with your website and what people are doing while they're on your website, how do you really know if you're getting better or worse? It'd be like flying an airplane without actually having any instruments to fly it. Like that would not be smart.
Yeah.
I kind of think the same thing with your website. So this is a church in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, and we just populate this with all the data about their website. But you get into the Google search ads, and we're here in August. We have maybe not quite 10 days left of August, and so far for their area, the Google Ad Grant program has generated almost 26,000 ads, which is great branding if that was the only thing that would happen. I mean, their church is showing up all over the place, but they've generated over 3,800 clicks to their website.
And this is in a month? I mean, I see the chart there showing it by month, but that number on the right there is in 1 month, in August.
Yeah, from August 1st, I think what's today, the 21st? So the first 21 days of August. So, I mean,
it's great.
Yeah.
More than 1,000 a day impressions.
Absolutely. Exactly. Courtesy of Google. You know, they're getting really good click-through rates here, and conversion rates are when people click and they actually engage into the website. That's the whole point. We want to show an ad. Yes, we want to show an ad. We want you to click on that ad, but now you're on the website. We don't want to just end there. We want you to absorb users. We want you to absorb that information and take the next step. So call to actions are really important in that, and what you're delivering is really important in that. And that's stuff that we help churches with, is making sure they're actually taking advantage of this opportunity. For us, it's about either getting somebody sitting in a seat when we can, or attending or watching online or connecting with a pastor or doing something that's going to engage the user with the church.
Now, click-through rate is the percentage of people that see the ad and click through it, right?
Yeah,
and then what is that conversion rate? Like conversion rate, usually I think of they signed up for that email list or downloaded that thing or,
that's right,
for that event. What is it here?
So for us, because the church world is a little bit unique, right? We are not trying to sell tickets. We don't sell tickets. We don't typically even ask for email addresses. It's usually, hey, welcome to our church. We want to invite you and we want to encourage you to come or watch this message or send an email. A pastor can give you a call. So we have to put conversion funnels, if you will, on your website. So if they click on anything, if they actually do fill out the form, or if they do take that next step, maybe they just go to the next page, or they stay on your site for a matter of like more than 2 minutes. We create conversion funnels, and that conversion is really important for Google. In Google's world, a conversion is somebody that signs up for an email form or they buy something. We don't really offer that in the church world. In the church world, it's all about clicking to go to the next page, or reaching out to a pastor, or filling out a form. So
somehow you can track that here, though. Somehow that's what that 50.9% means.
That's correct. So we usually get inside your analytics, Google Analytics, and we're fixing that, or we're adding those conversion funnels. We want to tell Google, it's not tricking Google, but we want to tell Google that is a conversion to us. If you stayed on our site longer than a certain amount of time, or you clicked on a page, or clicked on the link to go to another page, or you did fill out a form, those are all conversions. That's really important for Google to see that people are actually engaging on your website.
Yeah.
And then this particular church, we took over this church a few months ago, and we just did our thing. And you kind of see here, they in July, they hit over $10,000. In June, almost 10,000, a little shy of that. And this
month,
month,
like they're on the way. Yeah, they're like 2/3 the way through the month, and 2/3 the way through the budget almost.
Yeah, they'll probably get up in there, 9 to 10. I mean, a couple things matter. Number one is, where are you in the world? right? Is your church in the middle of Scottsdale, this huge city, or are you kind of in rural area, or where are you? That's number one, because that traffic density matters. Number two is what kind of competition is out there, right? So we always look at what are other businesses bidding on that would create competition for you. So we always stare at that. And then it's a matter of going after that low-hanging fruit. For us, the easiest, most important, in our opinion, two types of people. Either people looking for a church, it's a no-brainer, or people searching for faith-related type of topics, like, how to be forgiven. Does Jesus forgive? Who is God? They're searching. These are people for us, that's about expanding the kingdom and growing a local church and reaching people for Jesus. Is we want to go after people that are searching that. But once you go beyond that, the other topics I talked about, marriage, parenting, finances, addictions, stress, grief, fear, all that kind of stuff. Now you can really ramp up and spend a lot of money in the ad grant program every month.
Yeah, and that's part of what we had. Like I said, we didn't spend the max because we weren't doing it well. We still currently, like, you're going to help us fix that because we weren't spending the max amount of money we could. Google does have, and that's something probably important to talk about, those like requirements, right? Certain click-through rate percentage got to be high enough. So you can't just like spend $10,000 and send a bunch of bad ads out there. They won't keep you going, right?
No, because Google eventually will catch up with you. They crawl your site, they crawl the URL that you're wanting to send that traffic to, and it gives you a quality score. And is that quality score, it's basically a 0 to 10. 0 being, you're horrible, forget about it. Don't even try. Or a 10 being, oh, this is perfect. You check off all the boxes. When it's like an 8, a 9, or a 10, man, Google really they'll deliver those ads. Because the users are going to have a good experience. So you've got to work hard. But once you do it, it's sort of done, right? And then it's a matter of going deeper, which I can explain here about what it is to go deeper.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So pretty much every week, we have, Sunday comes, I'm pretty sure. And so when Sunday comes, we're usually delivering a message, right? Pastor's up there and he's preaching. For us, that's content that can be used. So I always explain to a church, I go, hey, church, so you had this weekend, Sunday, right? And people were either in attendance or watching online. But then after 3 or 4 or 5 days, that the views on that sermon drop dramatically, right? It probably shrinks down to like 10%, and maybe over the next few weeks it gets some hits, but eventually nobody watches that sermon, right? That's just the nature of church and how that works. In my opinion, that's a huge, that just breaks my heart, because your pastor probably spent 15 or 20 hours diving in to create that message. And it was a phenomenal sermon. Well, with the ad grant program, if you optimize your sermon accurately and you actually transcribe it and you put it in place so that Google crawls it and sees that you're an authority on whatever he preached on, you can run an ad grant program where you use the ad grant program where you can run ads delivering traffic to that message every week. You set it, and I'm telling you, we do this for a lot of churches, and we're delivering anywhere from 10 to 20 clicks a week to that sermon every week.
And that sermon. And that's one sermon, right? Yes. Yeah.
The next week, we're going to do the same thing, week after week after week. And if you went to your pastor and said, hey, pastor, guess what I can do? We can, so we had, let's say 1,500 people watched their sermon this weekend. But a year from now, I'm going to report that, 20,000 people watched it. That would make him go, what? How are you going to do that? Yeah. Google. And Google's going to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Just even better.
It's even better. That's a huge missing component. So yes, it's important to run ads for people looking for a church. Amen to that. Yes, it's important to help people with some of these felt needs. But it gets way more exciting when we talk about your pastor's sermon this past Sunday can be watched every week. Until Google goes away or Jesus comes back, either one. It's going to get watched as long as you're using the Google Ad Grant program to drive that traffic. And that's the fun stuff that we get to do at churches.
And you also do this. I want you to talk a little bit about how this can work even with just written content. You guys write, you mentioned this earlier, content specifically for Google ad searches and Google ad grants. They're not messages, right? It's like custom content you wrote that matches the kind of felt needs, spiritual things people search for. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's right. So my team dug pretty deep one day. It wasn't too long ago, and we came up with over 1,000 keywords that match felt needs. We actually had about 5,000. We shrunk it down because a lot of those were on the way fringes, and so we started to get honed in, and we got about 1,000 keywords. 1,000 keywords that people are searching for, that they're dealing with, that matches what happens in ministry. When you talk about parenting, there's so many different topics for parenting a teenage daughter, or how to be a parent to a new child, how to teach my child about racial issues. I mean, it could blow your mind. Well, you can't just have one page about parenting and call it good. It doesn't work that. I mean, you can, but if you really want to utilize the Google grant, if somebody's out there searching for how to talk to my child about racial issues, you want to have a page that speaks about how to talk to your child about racial. You'd want that as content, not, oh, well, come to our parenting class on Wednesdays at 7. That's not going to work. They're going to bounce. And so we decided to go deep and working and creating those pages. And we've got about 70 pages on our way to 100. And we're going deeper and deeper and deeper. And we offer those pages to churches. We decided to tackle it. We've seen churches do amazing stuff. They've got some great blogs out there, and they've got some great pages out there, certainly a lot of sermons out there. But we wanted one comprehensive tool that a church could just utilize, deploy these pages, and Google starts delivering ads to them right away because they're incredibly high quality scores. And then we want to, it's not about missional marketing at all. It's about, your church and reaching people to come to your church. And so we brand those pages with your logo, your colors, your call to actions. It's your church's landing pages. But we deploy them in a subdomain, and then we start using your ad grant program to drive traffic to them. And then we really want the fingerprints of the church. So we'd love to have your pastor create a video or two and stick it on that page. I mean, that to us is exciting. To go one step deeper, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit, but we've decided, hey, we don't want to just stop there. We actually want to help these people that are on this page. If they're ready to take a step deeper, we're working on some curriculum. We would like to have curriculum created so that somebody can actually, click here now to start to fix my marriage, right? And fill the form, and boom, they're on the curriculum path, and we'll work with churches on that. That's our next wave that's coming down. It's not here yet, but we're excited about it. But that's kind of
a great idea.
Landing pages. Yeah.
Now, anything else you'd add as we wrap up talking about Google ad grants and sending traffic to our site that way? And we'll put a link in the description where people can get a free local SEO report, right? And we talked about that more in the previous video. But anything else you'd add as we wrap up?
Yeah, one other thing that we love to do is just kind of run an audit of your website, just to inform you. And so you got to click on the link and fill out the form. Our team will run a complimentary audit, and we'll have a conversation with you and just kind of explain what we're seeing and what you need to do to go fix it, as well as give you more pointers on getting the grant. It's not difficult. Churches that hire us to manage their ad grant program each month, we go get the grant for them for free. And then, we're having conversations consistently because we're staring at the dashboard, and we're just walking them through how to spend more of Google's money to help grow your church. And to me, it's pretty exciting stuff. You just increased your budget by $120,000. Who wouldn't want that?
Which is crazy. Yeah, who wouldn't want that? Which is crazy. And we've seen, even with my bad management of Google ads, we saw a lot more traffic, a lot more clicks to the website, and thinking about the fact that those were all local. Those are people searching things around our church. And every month, I mean, it's been at least a couple years now of that. That alone is exciting, but that we could actually maximize it and help people find what they want, connect them to important truths that are going to help them take steps towards Jesus, and really make the most of the $10,000. Like, that's really exciting. I'm excited about you all helping us level up the game there. But like I said, people could check the link below in the description. And I so appreciate the work you all do, because I feel like this is not uncharted territory, but it feels like 99% of churches don't do this. So I love that you're helping us maximize our presence on Google and reach more people.
Yeah. One more nugget for you. So we're always looking to say, what are people searching for in Google? What are those felt needs they're actually searching for? So we use things like Google Trends, which you can use. We obviously use AdWords to see the volume of traffic. And lately, because of COVID, and this just makes sense, not only COVID, we're in an election year, a lot of racial issues, the stress, anxiety, fear searches are like through the roof. People are just kind of wigged out with, and they're looking for help. These are searches that are happening in Google right now in this season. And I'm telling you, church, you have a huge opportunity to help people and explain what the Bible says. What does God have to say about being anxious, or how to overcome fear? We have a lot to say about that. And so I'm talking, that's just fun, exciting stuff to be able to help people in their time of need. So yeah. And thanks for letting me kind of dive into this and share. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about the Ad Grant program.